A few moments ago, we passed a baton from one host city to another as this installment in the World Congress of Families begins. 3 months ago, another baton passing began as the founder of the World Congress of Families announced his retirement from full-time employment with the Howard Center. By creating the World Congress of Families, he began a project that has inspired thousands of people to engage in the pro-life and pro-family movements. Dr. Carlson, Allan, it would be difficult to distill the impact of your effort into a few words. But if you can remember the halls of Prague, Geneva, Mexico City, Warsaw, Amsterdam, Madrid, and Sydney, and now scan the room here today, we hope it provides some measure of what your work has meant. As much as you love farming, we know you understand the potential of seeds, and your work has planted thousands. Ladies and gentlemen, will you join me, my colleague from the Howard Center Board of Directors, Mrs. Carol Crahan, in acknowledging the founder of the World Congress of Families, the recipient of our Distinguished Service Award, Dr. Allan Carlson.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you for this honor. Thank you for your reception. And I thank the organizers of this event for their gifts. The idea for a World Congress of Families actually emerged on a frigid night in early 1995 in a modest apartment in Moscow, Russia. Present were demographers Anatoly Antonov and Viktor Medkov from Moscow Lomonosov State University, Ivan Shevchenko, an artist, a musician, and a lay leader in the Russian Orthodox Church, and myself. I was a guest in Russia of Professors Antonov and Medkov, who had secured a copy and read my early book, Family Questions, Reflections on the American Social Crisis. They invited me over to discuss the implications of my arguments for Russia. That evening, we agreed on the value of continuing and concerning and convening an international meeting that would examine the family crises to be found alike among the Western peoples of Western Europe and North America, and a similar crisis found among the peoples of former communist lands in East Europe and Russia. In both spheres, the same developments were emerging, the ones we've heard referenced before: falling marriage rates, declining marital fertility, growing levels of cohabitation, and children born outside of marriage, mounting signs of just failure of youth to thrive and grow, climbing levels of venereal disease, and so on. Were the causes the same in both East and West? Or were they different? What had been the distinct legacy of communism where it had taken control? What were the consequences of these changes in our respective lands? What pro-family policies might work? The result 2 years later, as some have noted already, was the inaugural World Congress of Families, held in Prague, the Czech Republic, in cooperation with the Civic Institute. Now, at the time, there was no clear plan to hold a second meeting. However, on the way home from Prague, the fates had me sitting on the plane next to one Richard Wilkins, a professor at the law school of Brigham Young University, who had attended the Congress and came away impressed, I guess. He urged with his characteristic enthusiasm that his law school and my organization jointly convene a second Congress. The focus this time would be on the turn at the United Nations toward trying to make family policy and population policy, something that had recently developed over the prior 3 or 4 years. The result was the Second World Congress of Families held in Geneva, Switzerland in late 1999. As noted, there have been many congresses since, 5 full events and dozens of regional gatherings. I think it is fair to say that this project found an audience or filled a need in ways I never anticipated at the beginning. And we meet now this week in still another extraordinary event in the beautiful setting of Salt Lake City. My gratitude for this event goes out to the Sutherland Institute, to Stan Swim, to Janice Krause and their team for taking on the primary burden in organizing such an event. I know the sleepless nights that they've had. Over the past few years, it became clear to me that my baby, this small project conceived 20 years ago, had grown up and was really filling my little nest far too much. It became clear that a different kind of leadership was needed, not just the part-time leadership that I could provide. And indeed, the need for such an international gathering of pro-family groups has expanded exponentially over just the last few years as family questions have emerged to prominence just about everywhere on the globe. So I concluded that it was time for me to pass on the baton to a younger generation of pro-family leaders. And like the responsible, mature citizen of ancient Rome, of the old Roman Republic, I have indeed retired to my farm to pursue deep thoughts, to preside over my garden and flocks, although I should admit that my flocks at present include only 19 chickens, and to finish 2 book manuscripts screaming for my attention. So I will still be around. I thank you for the honor given to me. I thank you for the gifts. I thank you for your friendships, and I thank you for your encouragement. Godspeed.